has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
All right, Ferrall back at the MGM Grand. Our thanks to MGM Resorts International for having us here in Vegas for the Tank and Benavidez double shot card on Prime pay-per-view Saturday night in the 100 fight anniversary of the Grand Garden Arena at the MGM Grand in Sin City, the Mega, beautiful down, Vegas, baby. Along with Joe Lisi, go for the two. Joe, always grateful for you doing Coast to Coast on my, as you know, community service days, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then for being patient enough to sit through the litany of interviews I've had to do today here in Vegas. And Joe's back there like, what am I, sponge over here? I got to sit here through all this. Joe, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. I just said you heard me. Sometimes I'd rather just talk to you than have to suck up to people, but I got to do what I got to do over here. It's important that we sell the fights. So I wanted to start off by talking about baseball here in the final hour on a Thursday. The Mariners get by the White Sox 2-1 in 10 innings in Seattle. We got Mitch Haniger, a walk-off single to give the M's the win on the Seattle radio network.
He swings, hits a little flare into shallow right field. It's a base hit. Raleigh thunders around third. He slides across the plate, and Mitch Haniger, just like the old days, he wins it for the Mariners in the 10th inning.
Yeah, Joe, I don't think they're, being in first, I'm not afraid of this team. I actually think they're the, I'm going to say featured attraction, one and done if they were to make the playoffs.
They remind me a little bit of the Twins, right? When they had success and the Twins made the playoffs and it looked like they had a strong team and all of a sudden they would bow out in the first or second round and never make it to the big dance. I feel that way about the Mariners. Now, they do have good starting pitching, in my opinion, that potentially could carry them. But, Scotty, their lineup is very inconsistent. I mean, expecting them to score consistent runs, 4 or 5, in terms of a playoff type of environment, let's say against the Yankees, I just don't see it. So we'll see how it is when they get there. But they're playing well right now. If they can continue heading into the All-Star break, maybe they'll make some noise. But I'm with you. I think they're a team that potentially could be one and done come playoff time.
Joe, the Rangers beat the Dodgers 3-2 at the Ravine. Corey Seager hit a 3-run shot in his first game back at the Ravine to account for all of the Rangers' runs. Andy Pages blows through the stop signs, thrown out at home, trying to tie things up for the Dodgers to end the game on the Texas radio network.
Yates to Hayward. First pitch is a line drive, right center, base hit. Leote over to cut it off. It's off of his glove. Rounding third is Smith. He scores. Pages being waved home. Here comes the throw. Play at the plate. He is out at home plate. And that's how this ball game ends.
Wow. Joe, I got to tell you, I was surprised that, the night before, they beat them 15-2, the Dodgers, spanked them. They had the 4 home run inning with all the big names hitting home runs, Freddie and Teoscar and Hayward. And it was just one home run after the next. And then the very next night, they lose to them 3-2. It's crazy.
It is, but I told Carver this, get your take on it. I feel like LA is playing down to the level of competition. They're sort of walking through the motions. They believe they can turn it on and turn it off at any given moment. And I don't even know if they're a 100-win ball club this year. It seemed that way at the start of the season. But when you lose games like this, 3-2, and you lose certain games to the Pirates and get abused, I don't know. They're not putting teams away, Scotty. So hopefully that changes after All-Star break. I do like the way Texas played last night. I will say this, Seager back in that lineup, they're plus money right now. I know they're on the outside looking in, but they are the defending champs. To get them anywhere from plus 196 or 2-1 to make the playoffs, I think is potentially good value.
So I was at this burger joint having a burger and a beer before the flight last night, and I actually saw the end of this day game at Petco in San Diego when the Padres walked it off over the A's 5-4. It was Jackson Merrill with his second home run of the game to win it on the San Diego radio network.
4-4 in the bottom of the ninth inning. Swings at the first pitch, sends it in the air, deep down the right field line, towards the porch, gonna go! Jackson Merrill, his first career walk-off home run. Hits second base with a stutter step. On his way to third as his teammates pour out of the dugout. They're gonna wait for him at home plate.
Yeah, big win for the Padres, but, here's another team that, I think we've said on the show, Carver High has said they're the best, they're the best, they're the worst of the best teams in baseball. You know what I mean? They're a good team, but they just don't matter that much. Here they are struggling in games against the A's.
Yeah, it's interesting because, they were playing very well and they pulled this game out. Again, Tatis has come on. He's hitting home runs. When he's on, they have as good a shot as anybody, I believe, to beat anybody in terms of the NL, whether it be the Dodgers or even the Braves or Phillies. The key is consistency. Again, I agree with Carver, though, if we're taking out the outliers, right, and taking out the Braves, the Phillies, and the Dodgers, if you're going to bet on a team in the NL to potentially be that dark horse, I might take a shot on San Diego. Don't love them, but there is value there.
So, you know what I'm saying? The worst of the good teams.
Right.
They're a good team, but they'd be at the bottom of that list. So we've already talked about the Yankees, so I won't waste much breath on them. They were 11-5 last night, and then today they lost. They lost to the Royals. They ended up blowing that 3-2 lead and lost in Kansas City 4-3. So they finally got cooled off because they've been on nothing but fire.
Yeah, and, you would like to pull that ball game out, right? You're up 3-2, your bullpen blows it, and you lose to the Royals. But, again, they still won the series for the most part. They came on. And, again, I think big picture, you're looking at it potentially a 98, 100 win, ball club. And that's what the Yankees are. When Soto's on and Judge is there and Stanton hits, they can beat anybody. You want to see the pitching, especially the bullpen, tighten up. I think that is the weak link a little bit of this team. So if you get them into potentially a 7-game series, maybe if it gets into the later innings and it's a 1-run game, that's where you can catch them. But, I don't think there's any cause of concern right now. The real cause is late September, early October. Is that team trending in the right direction?
Here's Bellinger's 3-run shot that gave the Cubs a 4-1 lead in the 7th against the Rays at the Trop last night on the Cubs radio network.
And here it comes. Bellinger hits a drive into right center field and deep. This ball's got a chance. Gone. 3-run homer, Cody Bellinger. Cubs lead 4-2. Right center field. Gone by plenty.
Wow.
So they ended up winning it by a run. They did sign the Mets glove tosser, Jorge Lopez, to a minor league deal. O's beat the Braves 4-2 in Baltimore. The Twins, how about it, 17-9 on the Rockies in the Twin Cities. The Brewers got by the Jays 5-4 in Brewtown. All 5 runs scored in the 6th inning. Giants beat the Astros 5-3 in the Bay. Nats over the Tigers in Detroit 7-5 at Comerica. Reds beat the Guards 4-2 in the Queen City. Mets blanked the Marlins at City 10-4. And the Red Sox beat the Phillies 8-6 in Beantown. Cards over the Bucks 4-2 in New York City. And the Angels dropped the D-backs 8-3 in the Desert. Just keeping an eye on things. Braves won that game in Baltimore 6-3. Detroit 7-2 today over the Nats.
crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
Be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
I want to look at the rest of the games tonight. By the way, the Cardinals beat the Pirates 4-3 today at Busch. Why don't we start with this one at 6:50 in the East? Cubs and Tampa down at the Trop. U.S. Steel against Bradley. And the Cubs are minus 115, 7.5 the total.
Yeah, I like the Cubs because of Steele, but these games have been trending right on the number. 7 both nights. Last night, the Rays had first and second and nobody out. They couldn't convert. They lost 4-3. I like the over tonight, Scotty. I lean to the Cubs, but my best play, even with Steele on the mound, is the over 7.5. It's a 6:51 first pitch. I think up and away. 8.5, 9.5 for all totals.
Yeah, I'm with you on the over because, frankly, other than the nickname we gave him, which is great, U.S. Steel, he never wins, and he gives up 4 runs every time he pitches. And your boy Bradley's even worse. He's 1-4. He gives up 5 or 6 runs every time he pitches. So I couldn't agree with you more. I think they're going to smack the ball all over that place tonight. All right, Miami and the Mets at 7:10 East. Munoz against Severino. The Mets a big favorite at minus 205. 8.5 is the number.
Yeah, I would only lay the 1.5 if you want to take the Mets. But again, I lean to the under here. I know they challenged this number last night, but I would go under the 8. Lean to the Mets, but only on the run line. I don't love the game.
The Phillies are in Boston, and it's Nola and Houck. It's a pick-em, minus 110 both ways right now, 8.5 the total. Boston beat them last night. Will they have a problem tonight? I think so, with Nola on the bump.
I think so, too. Now, Phillies jumped up 4-0 yesterday, and they got shellacked. So I like Nola, but I like the over. The way the lineup hit Boston pitching yesterday, I think they could still be good for 5 or 6 runs tonight. So give me the Phillies, but I like the over 8.5 as well.
Yeah, I just like Nola. I mean, he wins, and he's been impressive, and, like, he doesn't give up runs. Neither does Houck. Houck is a 191. I'd be willing to take a stab at the under in that one tonight and have a tighter ball game, lower scoring. We'll see, but they're playing in that bandbox, so anything's possible at Fenway. 7:40 A's and Twins in Minneapolis. Funky Cold Medina against Ryan. Ryan, a heavy favorite at -278. 8 is the total. Is this another run line game with the Twins?
I don't know. I would take a shot on the A's, and I know that they lost to the Padres yesterday. Now they go to Minneapolis, but give me the A's. I'll take a shot, and I think the under comes in. I never like taking overs in Minnesota, so it's the A's, the dog, and the under tonight.
Wow, that's high risk with Medina. His ERA's in the mid-5s. We'll see what happens. Angels and Snakes in the desert. Canning and Fott there. Arizona's -195, 8.5 the total. That one's on FS1 at 740, or at 940, 940 East, 640 West.
I like the Diamondbacks. I would lay the 150, and I think we go over the 8.5. I think they match up well against the Angels. I think they could hit them, and this game had a ton of runs 2 nights ago. I think we could be up in the area of 10 or 11 tonight.
The White Sox are a dismal 17-52, if you can believe it. That is crazy. They're playing in Seattle. Crochet against Hancock. Seattle, the price is short, only -115, 6.5 the low total.
That's crazy. 6.5, Scott. I don't care about the pitching matchup. And that yesterday was 2-1. I mean, 6.5? You need a perfect game. I can't do that. I would go over the 6.5, and I would lay the 115 with Seattle.
Yeah, I like the over there as well. Texas and the Dodgers again at Chavez Ravine. Grove against Lorenzen. Grove for the Dodgers, -195 LA. 9 is the number.
Again, I think Texas matches up well as long as Seager's back. He stepped up yesterday. They won 3-2. Going to go back to Texas. They're slight dogs, +185. Give me Texas, but you got to believe that both teams bounce back in regards to hitting. Let's go over the 8.5, 9 tonight.
So in the American League, the wild card teams right now are the Orioles, Royals, and Twins. And the Red Sox are 2 deep. The Tigers and Jays are 3 deep. And the world champion Rangers are 3.5 deep. What do you think of that AL wild card chase?
I don't buy into the Royals. I think that's the one team that might fall off the grid. I'm still a buyer, believe it or not, on the Rangers, big picture, and deep shot Toronto to still make the playoffs somehow, some way.
So yesterday, my Pirates were a half game out of the wild card. Now they're a game and a half out after losing today. So they're a game and a half out of the wild card with the Nats and Diamondbacks. Now it's the Cardinals chasing the Giants. They have basically the same record. The Giants would be the wild card right now. The Reds are a half game back. So are the Cubs. It's crazy how one day to the next it flip-flops like a pancake.
Yeah, it's going to go down to the wire, but I think the Giants were a playoff team at the start. Did have them in some parlay, so I'm not backing down now. I like Webb. I like the pitching staff of the Giants. I think they get there, but don't count out the Cardinals. I think they can make a move as well, maybe steal a spot as the season progresses.
Yeah, they're in second now in the Central. The Pirates were in second 2 days ago in the Central, and now they're in last place in the Central. They went from being 7 out to 8 out and dropped from second to 5th in that Central. The Phillies lead is 9.5 over the Braves in the East. And the Dodgers lead is 6.5 over the Padres in the West. And, of course, the Yankees lead is 2.5 over the O's in the East. Guards by 5 over the Royals in the Central. And the Mariners lead now is up to 6.5 over Texas.
crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
Be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
Both of them. My boss just came by the set and challenged me to a fist fight and said that he would be Joe Frazier and I would be Ali, and that we were going to fight in the lobby of the MGM Grand where the large lion is in the lobby. Joe, are you betting on Ferrall at 6'4", 240, or are you betting on Cardano at 5'7", 200?
I would say Ferrall. He's got the reach advantage, and as long as the jab is like Tommy the Hitman earns, you got to keep him at bay. You can't let Cardano get inside. If he starts ripping uppercuts, then you got a problem. You got to keep him at length. Utilize the jab or go southpaw.
You're saying Cardano's gonna knock me out with an uppercut in the lobby of the MGM Grand? It is embarrassing. All right, we got to talk hockey. Connor McDavid says the Oilers are not done in the Stanley Cup Finals. Here is the alleged greatest hockey player in the world, down 2-0 to the Panthers.
Yeah, we've been down and out lots this year. You know, we've been down and out lots throughout the playoffs.
It's really exciting.
You know, it's
this guy's like
nothing new to this group. You know, where does that come from? I think it comes from just such a big will to win. You know, our group wants to win as bad as I've seen. And not to say that other groups don't want to win, and not to say that Florida doesn't want to win, because they sure do. But our group has willed our way out of situations, and I think we have an opportunity to do that here in this series as well.
Honestly, Joe, my priest is more exciting than Connor McDavid.
I was just going to say, don't make Connor McDavid the headliner at your party. You want everybody to leave. I mean, this guy, he's younger than us, Scotty. I mean, does this guy party at all? He's like, we care about winning. No. I almost went to bed. It's almost like, you know, like, please. He had me, I was almost dozing off. I needed something to keep me up. This guy's terrible. Horrible.
That's so true. He said, we Carver High and I play him every chance we can because he's so awful. It's just it's so entertaining to watch how awful he is and how boring he is. He's the dullest interview in the world.
Hey guys, I'm having a house party. I have Connor McDavid coming. No, don't invite him, please.
Wait,
McDavid's coming.
It gets even better. Here's the coach of the Oilers. He's another one. I'd rather listen to Chuck Knobloch than Chris Knobloch. Here you go.
Just focusing on the details that we need to do, playing our game, and thinking about all the things that we've done well through the season and accomplished. They should be very proud and happy about what they've done so far this year. Now saying that, no one's content about what they've accomplished right now. But I think they should feel good about themselves, how good of a team that we've got. Each individual are good hockey players. And if we bring it collectively, we should have a pretty good chance.
He said the old thumbs up. Teaching him how to play bridge.
Yeah. Hang on. At Seaview Old Age Home, we have the headliner, Knobloch and McDavid. Dumb and Dumber. Unbelievable. I can't take it.
This guy's better. Paul Maurice, the coach of the Panthers. Let's listen to him. He's way better.
I got through skate. It felt better today and got through the skate today. As far as I know, I haven't checked after. And then we'll get him on a plane, get him off a plane, get him on the ice, and make a decision where he's at tomorrow. But he looked good today.
Sasha Barkov, it seems like your mood is lightened tenfold the last 2 days. That helps, right? I mean, having him,
It's the driver of my mood, right? You go through that fear, maybe is the right word. Nobody wants to lose their captain.
Dresser, too. I like this
And you don't know if you have or not for a block of time. Then you find out there's a good chance you're not going to. Then you're in a much better mood.
So they're up 2-0, and they're going to play in Edmonton tonight. It's do or die for the Oilers, Joe. Do you give them a shot, or are they like the Dallas Mavericks? Real quick, I got 5 seconds.
They're like the Mavericks. I think the Panthers get it done tonight.
All right, there you have it.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
Be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
At the awesome MGM Grand, and our thanks to MGM Resorts International again for having us back at Vegas for another great fight card. This one's stacked. Tank and Martin, Benavidez and Vodzik. Just an incredible card, top to bottom. And my favorite boxing arena in the world, the Grand Garden Arena. It's funny. I talked. Scott Preston's here, the GM of the Grand Garden Arena. Scott, it's great to see you. I said earlier on the show, this town, when they built the T-Mobile, everything started hockey. The UFC went over there. It became the spot. But for me, the memories on these walls in here, what you've done, what they've done for this 100th anniversary weekend, it really brings it all back to me, because I had said earlier today in the show, I've been here for literally, I think, 75-80% of the greatest fights that have ever happened in the arena. It is, I live in New York City, and to me, there's the Garden, and there's the Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas for boxing. That's it.
We like to think of it the same way. There's the East Coast, West Coast version. The history of boxing in this building predates me, but it goes back to 1994. It really is amazing.
What is it like having that responsibility of running this famed arena with this great history behind it, and then to put on this anniversary weekend and to have the little Hall of Fame action going out there so fans can taste it and see what's happened here? I don't think most fans pay enough attention to what's around them. At these events, they're drunk, they're having fun with their friends, they got tickets, they're like, let's party. Yeah. They don't realize the history and what's been involved in this building.
If these walls could talk, right?
Right.
I mean, there's so much.
If you were a fly.
We take the responsibility very seriously. We know what boxing means to not just the city, but to the sport. And what this venue has done for the city and the sport. 30 years ago, when they did the first Chavez and Randall.
Right.
I mean, it was the start of something big, and nobody knew it then. So over the years, working with the different promoters and all these different fights, we understand the value that this venue has. There's an aura in there. There's a vibe when you walk into this building that you know you're walking into something special, especially for boxing.
Do you remember when I used to always, I lived here twice, so I've lived in Vegas, and I've done my show here twice in my career nationally from Vegas. And I used to always remember when they put up the entire side of the grand of the building of like Floyd, when he'd be on the entire side of the resort. And when you're coming into Vegas and you land and you're driving over in your cab, because that was before Uber, and you'd see that the MGM Grand, you'd see,
be 100 feet tall.
And it was this gigantic shot of him on the side of that resort that gets you going.
Yeah, it was Floyd's home for how many years?
He owned it.
He's done 15 bouts here, 15 fights.
I went to every one of them.
Yeah. Manny Pacquiao's done 15. I mean,
I've been to all of his
some of
fights.
the numbers, yeah. And we did Mayweather-Pacquiao was here. I mean, it still
I was here for that with the shoulder.
Oh, it was an epic night, wasn't it?
I was here for the Mayweather McGregor, which I thought was a fiasco.
That, I think, was over across at T-Mobile.
Oh, at T-Mobile, but it was in Vegas, and it was
in Vegas.
But it was, I remember, I think we had the media center here.
We did.
And then we went over there for the fight. But I thought that was a terrible fight. I thought he killed him. They shouldn't even have done it.
It was a night of entertainment.
I don't think that guy's fought since.
I don't think he has either.
You know what I mean? So how do you deal with the crush of fans that come in here? Well, I'll never forget, I've left this building from fights, and I'm down on the floor. I'm ringside. And then you have to know your way
You do.
You have to know your way to escape this place after a fight. It can be stressful, but I don't know how you guys manage it and maintain it. It's not easy.
We've done it like 100 times, right?
You got it down to a science.
Yes, we've gotten better. We learn something from each event, and the fans change too. So they become more educated, and we get better at getting people in and out of the building.
What has it done for you, Scott, to see all these legends and all these great fights and all these great events and to be part of history? Like, it's pretty cool, like, to tell your family and your friends, I was at that fight. I saw that guy. I knew that guy. I met that guy.
It's an honor to be able to say you did that. I mean, I do that with my family and friends, and, it's to get to do this for a living, it's just amazing.
Bruce Binkow told me that literally when I walked in here, I told him I was going to interview you today, and he said, none of this would be possible without Scott.
Well, that's very nice of him to say.
That's pretty cool.
It is. Bruce is one of the best.
He's top shelf.
He is.
He's top shelf status.
His whole team is great.
He told me today that I was fat and had a mohawk.
He told me the same thing.
I mean, it's unbelievable. The way
that must be his opening line.
I mean, honestly, the way this guy treats us.
Yeah. No, it's an honor to have Bruce.
But you beat him on the show. He's coming on tomorrow.
Well, you saved the best for last.
We got no. We got the best in the first day.
Well, I appreciate that.
And even my boss walked in. He said, "You've had great guests: Benavidez, Jim Gray, Scott Preston." I'm like, it's crazy. So I've been coming here for so long. I know all the nooks and crannies of the resort. And it's incredible because, we work with BetMGM as our main sponsor, and it's an honor to work with them, and it's an honor to be at the resort and to be at all the great sporting events here and concerts.
We do it all here, don't we?
I mean, you guys have it all down. Literally, you handle all the fun.
We do. I mean, it's the city of entertainment.
You make people happy.
We're a destination, right?
Well,
the culture of yes.
But does it stress you out? Like, how did you get this gig?
I used to have hair.
I used to have hair too.
No.
Now I just say I'm clean and tight and old.
There you go. You take the stress and just deal with it. I mean, we do it for a living, and it's fun. I mean, we're here to make everybody's else experience that much better.
How did you know you wanted to make it the anniversary weekend this weekend? What were the planning stages like for you guys?
Well, we're very much aware of what we do here, and we keep
the dates and the history.
We keep history. We keep in the archives. And when we saw we're coming up on, we knew what it meant. We're at our 30th anniversary for the venue, and it's something special. And working with Bruce and the team, we said, let's do it. So we went to our warehouse and pulled out a lot of the old stuff that we had. And if you see in the ringside gallery, there's a lot of history in there. So, I mean, we got belts, we got the scale that we used for 30 years, the bell that has rung in there for 25,000 times. It's just
people don't realize what you guys have collected and had.
I mean, the history that we have in there is just amazing.
Where did you come from before you got this gig?
I was in Florida.
Really?
Yeah. But I came out here, worked with MGM back in 2006.
But you had nothing to do with running sports and running events like this?
Nope,
what were you doing in Florida?
I was a roadie.
A roadie for a band?
Yeah, I did all sorts of stuff. I worked
concerts and everything.
Yeah, it's like I couldn't hold down a job.
And then you said one day, I'm going to go for it and I'm going to move to Sin City.
Moved to Vegas, didn't have a job, applied at MGM, and
been here ever since, and rose through the ranks.
It's not what you know.
And how many years now?
I've been here for 17 years.
Wow, so I guess it all worked out.
It's not a bad gig.
And now you're the boss.
I have bosses.
This guy won't even admit that he's the boss, Mafia. He won't even admit that he said that I'm fat and I have a mohawk, just like Bruce, and he will not admit that he's in charge.
Well, Bruce is
I hate people like that. This guy, he's got all the juice. He can give me free passes to go into to see all the history of the garden. I mean, I got it all.
People.
Listen, you're awesome. Congratulations on 30 years and 100 fights and great memories. And thanks for letting us be a part of it. And it's great to have you on SportsGrid.
Thank you for being here.
I'll see you Saturday night. Hopefully I'll run into you and be able to introduce you to my son.
That'd be great.
I'll say this is the guy in charge.
I'll be there.
You'll have to admit it to him at least.
I'll pretend.
All right, and I'm going to tell Bruce he's ugly tomorrow for you and me.
And that he has a mohawk.
And he needs a mohawk is what he needs. Scott Preston, thank you. I love you.
Thank you very much.
All right, there he is, the GM of the Grand Garden Arena. He knows how to put on events. Believe me, you the mama. Okay, great job. Let me just get a picture with you.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
Be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
MGM Grand in the Boxing Media Center. Stoked for Saturday night, the pay-per-view on Prime. Order the fights. What are you waiting for, Romeo? Joe Lisi with us, Go for the 2, a.k.a. Joey Prawns, styling in New York. We were talking about the Stanley Cup Finals continuing tonight in Edmonton, Ferrall, Alberta. By the way, once a day you can play the free BetMGM Swing for the Fences for a chance to win great daily prizes. Pick an area of the strike zone because you're the batter. Get a home run, single, double, triple, anything, even a fly out, and you're going to get great rewards. Sportsbook account holders who play on BetMGM Swing for the Fences is going to have an opportunity to win these awards. You get parlay boost tokens, odds boost tokens, single game parlay boost tokens. How about this? Bonus spins in eligible casino states, and even bonus bets. You got a reward. You got to use it within 24 hours. You're going to love it. I told you. Sign up for the mobile account on iOS or Android. You won't look back. Plus, you get that first bet $1,500 offer, the greatest thing that's happened in American history. All right, Joe. Let's talk about Game 3 tonight in Ferrall, Alberta. Can the Oilers get it done? I saw the odds earlier today, I think this morning. Now it's moved from 145 to 150. Oilers favored. 5.5 the goal total. Goals have been hard to come by in this series with these two tough goalies.
Yeah, I actually like Florida, Scotty. I told Carver this throughout the week that I just believe Florida's the more blue-collar team. It's one thing if Edmonton was playing their type of style, right? They pushed pace in Game 1, but look at it. They got outscored 7-1 in the last 2 games. And just because Florida had some issues getting out of the East Coast area of Florida with the travel issues, I still think they match up well. I think they have the better goaltender with Bobrovsky. And on top of that, I just think they're more tougher. They're tougher. Just the way we see Boston and Dallas, the Celtics are the tougher team. I believe that Florida's the tougher team, and I think Edmonton's too much finesse, and they're not getting shots on goal. They had 6 shots on goal through the second period in Game 2. That's not their style. I don't think they match up well. I think they lose tonight.
Could you believe that they were they had a total of 23.5 shots was the prop on would they have 23.5 shots in that second game, and they couldn't get anywhere near that number.
I know. It's crazy. And you would think with McDavid and Hyman and Draisaitl that, that's the way they play. They push tempo, they get shots, and all of a sudden they get second and third opportunities. But Florida's defense has been fantastic. Granted, penalties will make or break this game in regards to game number 3. I expect Florida to start fast, believe it or not. I actually like them to score the first goal, and I'm on some usual suspects. Forsling, in regards to, I think he's 8-1 to score a goal, and you got to go with Verhaeghe. He seems to be the hot guy too.
Do you think that Barkov is okay, or do you think they're lying about his headshot?
I don't think he's going to play the rest of the series, and I think not that they're lying. I just don't think that they're telling us everything in regards to the situation. Anytime you have a head injury, they take they side on the safer side for the player, keep him out longer rather than sooner, especially with concussions and the whole protocol with that. So I don't buy into it. I just put it in that he's not playing the rest of the series, and if he does, that's a benefit, but I think he's out.
So let's look. I think we have a graphic on the series odds, where it stands right now after 2-zip. Look at the numbers, Joe. 550 for the Panthers, 4-1 for the Oilers.
I know. It seems like, the Oilers, they're enticing you with 4-1, but again, they're not playing their style. If they were getting, 25 and 30 shots per game and they were losing by 1 and they were playing at least scoring, you'd say, all right, I'd back Edmonton. Just because they're at home doesn't mean that they're going to win this game. And I think the pressure's on Edmonton. Florida's playing with house money, but it comes down to the goaltender as well. I have more confidence in Bobrovsky than I do Skinner, especially if Edmonton doesn't start fast.
So what about the Conn Smythe odds? I know we have those as well on the grid for who you think is going to be the playoff MVP of the entire Stanley Cup playoffs, Joe.
Well, Carver and I talked about it. At this point, it's Bobrovsky's to lose, right? Assuming that Florida does win. If you want to take a deep shot, I would say Verhaeghe, but again, what does he have to do? He didn't score in game number 2, right? So he's going to have a fantastic game 3 and 4 to even be considered. I would take a shot. I still think that's great value, but again, it's asking a lot. Right now, Bobrovsky, as long as he doesn't implode, looks like at -200, he's the bet.
So have you seen, I at least want to hit this with you when we come back. I know that the Sharks named their assistant Ryan Warsofsky the new head coach. Good luck with that. Here's another one of Carver High's. Who? One of their assistants they've named the head coach. I give him the best of luck in his new venture, but I don't like his chances. And the Blue Jackets are working on trading Patrick Laine that would move him from Columbus out of there. And then the Rangers extend Capo Caco with a 1-year, $2.4 million deal. None of that very exciting. I do have some NFL stuff for you, Joe. Stafford wants an adjusted deal with the Rams, more guaranteed money. Would you give old elbow Matt Stafford more money and an extension at this point?
I think I would. I wouldn't go more than a year or two, but I think I would. As long as Matt Stafford's in that lineup, Scotty, at 14-1, believe it or not, I think they can win the NFC Championship if everything falls their way.
So when I come back, I'm going to talk to Joe about the odds for the Tank Davis fight on Saturday night against the Ghost, Frank Martin, and see who he likes in that fight. I can't get out of here without hearing from Joe who he's going to bet on Saturday. And the Benavidez fight. We're styling at the MGM Grand.
Crazy how many teams had a chance to win. The Ripper GC went from 9 back to leading by 2 to near the cellar again late in the day. It was so volatile, counting 4 scores. It was pretty nuts, but you know, the cliques have been cellar dwellers for basically 2.5 seasons, and they come out victorious today. That's awesome.
It'll be the summer of the cliques, definitely. So, like I said, there's definitely more to come from us.
It was a magnificent ball striking performance.
Yeah, you know, I got to speak to someone in his camp before he teed off this morning, and they said to me that he is finally feeling extremely comfortable out here. He's not thinking about any swing thought. He's going out there, he's swinging so freely, and it certainly showed today. The way he drove the ball, the way he hit his irons, and even in his putting as well.
Yeah, and lives in Texas, went to school in Texas. His tour win on the PGA Tour was here in Houston, which is Texas, and now his first live win, Texas.
Honestly, it was just a matter of playing solid coming down the stretch. I think there was a switch there on 15 that I made birdie, he made bogey, and I just knew that I had to power in pretty much, and it was mine. The 18 I made bogey, but it worked. He played unbelievable, and he put pressure all the way to the end, and it was a good battle. I love playing here. Obviously, Texas treats me well. It's my adopted home state, so I'm just happy to get it done again in Houston.
So, Joe, you could parlay them together, Tank Davis and Benavidez at minus 286 on a parlay for them both to win on Saturday. But their prices on their fights, Davis minus 7 bills, Benavidez minus 750.
Yeah, I can't go that deep. I would do the 286. We got a guy. I think Tank Davis is the side. The only question is, does he put him away? They do have some crazy features out there that you got to shop around. But, I mean, Gervonta Davis to win in round 11 to start, plus 155. Gervonta Davis to land 125 punches is minus 105. So if you think the fight's going to go into the later rounds, I like Davis to land the most punches, too. I think he's plus 162 to land the minus 172 to land the most punches, but he's also plus 162 to throw the most punches. So I like that.
You know, a lot of people say he doesn't throw enough punches, that he waits for the one big punch, the big knockout, because he's got the 27 knockouts in 29 fights. A lot of people say he doesn't fight enough. A lot of people say he doesn't throw enough hands, and that all he does is wait to knock people out. Do you buy that?
I don't buy it. I actually think he fights according to the style, right? Against Garcia, he knew what he had to do. He was more tactical. He waited until Garcia opened up, and then he took his shots, more power shots. I think in terms of this fight, with Martin might push a little tempo and force Davis to throw more punches. So styles make fights. You know that. Martin looked a little shell-shocked in terms of the press conference. I think if it does go anywhere over 6, I think Davis could surprise some people. So I think Davis could throw a lot of punches in this fight. I really do.
What did you think of the Falcons losing a pick and getting fined $250,000 for tampering?
I mean, we know tampering goes on in the NFL each and every year, don't we? It's just a matter of they only catch certain teams. It's ironic that it's the Falcons, right? It's amazing with the Kirk Cousins situation and everything that played out with Bill Belichick. You had to believe there was some sort of tampering going on.
You see your boy Bernie Kosar suing people. He alleges a forced bet cost him his Browns radio job. He's suing a podcaster for big money.
Is he really? Come on, I didn't see that. That's crazy.
They said that he claims they forced him to make a bet on the Browns on the podcast, that they forced him to make a bet and that it cost him his career, so he's suing them, trying to ruin him. It's unbelievable.
Oh, man, Bernie.
So a former Illinois player and former Illinois player and current NBA prospect Terrence Shannon Jr. found not guilty of rape and not guilty of aggravated sexual battery. Always a good day when you get off on rape and aggravated battery charges. Southern Miss defensive back Marcus M.J. Daniels was shot to death at an apartment complex earlier this week. I mean, this is crazy. Big 12 is considering a first-of-its-kind private equity investment of up to $1 billion from CVC Capital Partners, who would receive a 15 to 20% stake in the conference. Auburn and Duke, Bama and North Carolina will highlight the 24 ACC-SEC challenge in college basketball. Tony Bennett at Virginia gets an extension through 2030 to continue boring people with his style of coaching in the ACC, Joe. And Messi says he expects Inter Miami to be his final club of his soccer career. Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler at UFC 303 in serious doubt, with the UFC looking for replacements for the main event. I cannot believe this guy. He never fights, and he gets more attention than God. It is so unbelievable to me, Joe.
Did it have to do with Roadhouse? You think it had to do with the Roadhouse movie? I mean, come on.
I heard they're coming out with a second movie. That movie was so good, they're coming out with a sequel.
The Double Deuce. Remember the Double Deuce? Kind of love that bar. Let it or unlet. Love that.
So Patrick Cantlay, the leader at the U.S. Open at Pinehurst. Auberg at 4 under, a stroke back. Pavon at 3 under with Rory and DeChambeau. Finau, Hatton, Keimer, Martin Keimer, a flashback to his better days, all at 2 under. After the U.S. Open's first round in North Carolina at Pinehurst. We're here again tomorrow all day from 3 to 6 from the MGM Grand for Tank and Benavidez and the great boxing card. Joe Lisi, thank you from New York. We appreciate you. So long from Sin City, everybody.
Porzingis, you got Holiday, you got Derek White, you got literally, I would say 5 guys can get you 20 points in a game?
I know people will say it's, only one guy. I don't believe that, Coach, that, one guy, those days are over, in my opinion. Like, a Bill Russell, a Wilt Chamberlain.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
You're going a little deep bomb hunting here. We don't care that we have the one heavy favorite with Rory, a couple other guys like Fleetwood and Tagala, etc. You're going to go a little deeper down the board.
This course, I think, is going to play a little bit more to the wedges. They have, what they did is they've renovated it to basically block off some of the bombing alleys for these guys. They've narrowed the fairways.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back, too. I guess look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. and that's all it takes.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.